Wait 1 second, make sure I am recording. Okay, I should be recording now. Hello and welcome to Deluge, a game that we're playing for Random Days, Random Games. It is a dating simulator, Lovecraftian game. So I don't know what to expect, but hopefully you are all doing okay today and staying safe. Might as well hop into it. Leaves. I don't know what to expect. Please press Alt Enter to activate full screen mode. Escape at any time to access the in-game menu. The game will autosave before each decision point. You can create manual saves through the in-game menu. Okay, that seems reasonable. Okay, let's see. Perfect. And I don't know what that is. Dangerous. Perfect. Okay, let's see. I don't know what to expect. Let's see. I got off the bus at the street corner while an old saying rang through my head. Anyone who lives within their means suffers from lack of imagination. By then, I had wasted yet another weekend fruitfully, I can't say that word now, inquiring the local businesses for part-time employment. You should have tried during harvest, they reply regretfully if they didn't just laugh in my face. I was beginning to run out of options. Due to the setbacks at my father's work, the same that had led him to slash my weekly allowance, we were forced to relocate to Abbotsford, a agricultural town with low cost of living. To me it felt like the apocalypse. I had lost my house, my friends, my indulgent city life, and now I couldn't even find a part-time job. But in retrospect, I'll admit these were peaceful days where money was the greatest problem on my carefree mind. It is night time now. It is morning now. It is school now. Let's see, I don't really know what to expect from this game. That was before I realised I had a stalker. Scared the life out of me there. Why are we getting stuck? I don't know. Leaves Presents. Ah yes, that's the company that makes this game, Leaves. Or yeah, published it, I don't know. I have known a great light in the sea. Have you ever seen the eyes of Leviathan? There's supposed to be music here, but there is no music. These tombs have witnessed the dawn of man. The centuries look upon us now. A boundless mass of human being following in the stream without banks. Deluge. I can't read that. Threnody of Crashing Waves. Let's see. When grapes of wrath have borne their fruit, when serpents coils through endless depths, decades of fright and sorrow will... I didn't get to read that. Hey, wait, can I, preferences, text speed. I saw you loitering around the stores yesterday. You better admit it. Her name was Ina. A strange, determined girl. Though she was in the same class as I wouldn't be able to say who her friends were. I have no idea what you're talking about. I went too fast there, sorry about that. They say a man is only as good as his labour. I've got just the thing for you. Abe, eh? Please follow me up to my office. Looks like we're going up to the office, boys. Part 1, Pastoral. Let's see. Who gets an office like this? I followed her into the small, cluttered room that was situated next to the teacher's lounge. It's so unbearably hot in here. Let me take off that horrible uniform. Gracefully, she removed her vest and jersey, crumpled them into a ball, which she dropped into a corner of the room. Must get as stinky that corner as that. Must be so stinky. Let's see. Don't understand why they're making us wear viscose. It's practically tropical outside. She turned to me. You're anxious to get started, right? Let me explain what your duties will entail. I need someone to deliver a newspaper. Don't worry, I can see a panic forming in your eyes. Brains, however, are entirely optional for this job. She cut me off. If there's one thing this village is famous for, it's the stellar quality of our newspapers. The Sunday's Abbot. Or, at least, it's since took over as editor. Since took over as editor-in-chief. The Abbot doesn't play games, you know. 4th place in the national ranking of school papers, and honourable mention by Evening Mirror. I didn't know we had a school paper. A school paper? We're much more than that. Crime, corruption, unsolved mysteries. Did you know we were the first to break news on the Stanford House affair? And I have so much more up my sleeve. So, what do you say? Will you take the job? It's better than nothing, I take it. Great, let me show you my mock-up for this week's issue. Bucolic cover-up. This week we're reporting on the interesting case. It's linked to a murder that happened last summer, quite some time before you arrived here. Back then we brought the news of a seasonal worker who fell victim to a violent attack on one of the local farms. It was late at night. He was on his way to his sleeping quarters after his shift ended, when suddenly he was struck from behind by an anonymous assailant. Inna, in her apparent excitement, had begun tapping her right hand rhythmically. I can't say that word. Sometimes I can see words pretty good against her skirt. Pretty good, and then sometimes I can't even get, words out properly. His colleagues discovered him next morning, more dead than alive. Oh wait, one thing. I did realise that the last video that I uploaded, Fallout New Vegas episode 8, had no volume. Turned out that I muted myself a while ago and I forgot to unmute myself before starting. So, hopefully you can hear me now because I did unmute myself. His colleagues discovered him next morning, more dead than alive. They transferred him to the hospital, where he succumbed to his injuries. Sadly, he wasn't able to give a testimony before he died. Poor guy. A full year has passed since that fateful night, so I decided to do due diligence. I went down to the police station to ask how the investigation into the attack was coming along. However, the receptionist told me the case had been closed. Case closed? I asked her. Then who was the culprit? Well, she said the perpetrator had never been found. Then when I asked her if I could see the case file, she just mumbled something and directed me to the exit in a side. I know exactly what's goes on down here. They never did a proper investigation. You know, the guy who owns the farm where it all happened, he has ties to the town's mayor. They're corrupt to the bone, each and every one of them. This place is ruled by a small caucus of cronies that can do as they like as long as their power go unchecked. That's why we need a quality newspaper to shine a light in the darkness. I could detect a tremble in her voice. We really need a paper boy. Do it for your community, Abe. Those poor wretches need you. Okay, we did say that we'd take the job. The afternoon was drawn to an end. By that time I had already begun to notice the first signs of Inna's compelling presence. Though I ascribed it to useful eccentrically, I can't say that word, I don't even know what that word is, at the time, not paying it any further attention. Wordlessly, we gathered our belongings and headed towards the stairs. We're downstairs in the garden now. Let's get down to business. We have just under 2,000 subscribers. I'll pay you 2 cents per paper delivered. That should add up to a decent salary for a morning's work. Now remember, the printer will deliver tomorrow at 5 in the morning, so I want you to see you here no later than 5:15 a.m. Oh, I have to found out that right clicking puts you in the menu thing also. I'm not much of a morning person. See you then. We're getting up at 5 a.m. Let's see. That night I lay in turmoil, pondering whether I should even indulge Ina's ridiculous offer, while a neurotic continuously tapping played through my head like a stenotype. Wait, did she hypnotize us with the tapping? And that's why, you can hear it in his head and, he must do it now. Let's see. Morning came all too soon. So you're finally there. The delivery guys left ages ago. I could have used some help with the boxes. Ina didn't appear the least bit thrilled to see me. Here's a list of all the addresses, sorted by proximity to the school. Please try not to get lost. I'm off now. I have a lot of reading to catch up on. You can call me when you're done. She handed me a small business card with her number on it. Chief editor of the Sunday Abbot was printed below her name in tasteful lettering. I have a question. Though she appeared anxious to leave, she turned around at the last moment, hesitantly. What? So why is it called the Sunday Abbot? What do you mean? That doesn't make much sense, does it, if it's delivered on a Saturday? That's just the way. Oh, I clicked that again. Sorry about that. That's just the way it's always been. We deliver on Saturdays and people read it on Sundays. Some of our subscribers are very old fashioned, you know. They wouldn't want us to working on the Sabbath day. I guess very religious. Anyway, good luck with your first day on the job. Okay. We gotta get like a bicycle or something. I resigned myself to Odurus, I can't say that. A hard labour, even though it was October already, a unnatural sticky heat permeated in the air that made it hard for my work. All, very, I'm trying to, make sentences while reading this sentence to make it sound a little bit better. That permeated in the air that made all my work more unbearable. Okay, how quickly my situation had taken a turn for the worse. No more than 2 months ago, I had been enjoying my life among the nation's elite, headed for a bright role on the world stage. I would be pained to see myself now spreading gutter journalism for a slave wage. But then out of nowhere, a snapping shadow lunged at me. The street erupted in a violent mayhem as I fought to keep its razor-sharp fangs away from me, away from my jugular, using my messenger bag to shield myself from its devouring clutches. I was in a state of panic, frantically attempting to block its strikes as I sought a path to safety. And without further hesitation, I leapt over a garden wall, away from what I figured was a hound's territory. Sigurd! Oh, I clicked that button again, sorry. I must have ran at least 4 blocks before collapsing onto a playground bench. I took some time to come to my senses, all while cursing Enough for not disclosing the dangers of the job. If I encounter one more dog today, I will definitely... Sigurd! Over the sound of my heavy breathing, I could discern a fragile voice calling out, Sigurd! Or Sigurd. Please stop hiding, Sigurd. A girl appeared, her eyes as bright as the summer sky. Hi there, are you delivering the mail? She seemed distracted by my I hate that buzzing sound. She seemed distracted by my sudden presence. No signs of her prior distress remained. Calling it mail may be a overstatement. It's just a weekly paper. I love to work as a postman one day. The honour, the excitement to see the delight of people's eyes when they receive life-altering news. I let out a self-deprecating chuckle. I know someone might like to meet. Sigurd! Or Sigurd. She was at it again, at the top of her lungs. Are you looking for someone? It's just my little brother, Sigurd. He loves playing hide and seek. He made me count to 100 this time, but when I turned around he had disappeared without a trace. Isn't that the object of the game? That was almost a half an hour ago. Usually it doesn't stray so far. Well, I really hope you find him. I have to move now. They don't pay me by the hour. Will you please look out for Sigurd? He's wearing a light red fleece. I told him it was far too warm for his winter clothes, but he never listens. Sure thing, I keep my eyes wide open. You're the best. Please send him over here if you find him. Let's see. Every mansion had a garden, and every garden had a gate, and every cursed garden gate added 3 more seconds to my seemingly endless route. I really didn't mind the apartment complexes, which had their boxes stacked conveniently together, but these gardens were ruining my average, and I was gradually coming to the conclusion that Ina had played me for a fool, when suddenly the infernal beast returned, without abandon. It began furiously snapping at my leg. There, Ferris. The man's doing an important job. Adeptly, she wrangled the dog away from my quivering limbs. I'm sorry, Ferris is usually very kind, but it takes him a while to get used to strangers. Your dog has been terrorizing me all morning, madame. Oh, Ferris isn't my dog, he lives here. The community has adopted him. You must be new in town. I'm Karen. It's Karen. I work at the city council. Welcome to the beautiful I was about to say monopoly of Abbotsford. Municipality of Abbotsford. I'm so glad you're willing to do this job. I heard Ina had some unfortunate resignations as of late, but a small town like this really needs free press. Ina mentioned something along those lines. I handed her a paper, and as I was about to proceed on my route, her eyes fell on the headline. Wait a minute, this seems interesting. As she skimmed over the front page, a grave expression came over her face. This is very interesting indeed. What you've dug up here. You should be careful though. This is very small community. She uttered the warning with concern in her voice. I'm just the paper boy. I know, I apologize. This really is very interesting. And with these words, she proceeded to head back towards the council building until I suddenly recalled May's words. Wait, have you seen a little boy somewhere around here? She turned around, a meaningful expression appearing on her face. I figure you've run into me. Don't worry too much. Little Sigurd always shows up in the end. It shows up at the very end of the game. Let's see. Oh, it looks like a storm's happening. Though the fortunate may be entitled to Saturdays off, my fate is governed by the crueler power. If you want to experience underworld on air, I implore you to take a paper round. My hands lacerated, my legs buckling. Sigurd, where are you? Sigurd, please, come on, out. Mum will be angry. Her voice was reduced to a feeble wail. I hurried in the direction of the sound. Sigurd still hasn't come back. He's never been away this long. She was teary-eyed, shivering like a newborn calf. Please, Sigurd, please. Sigurd. And as she pleaded, her voice grew fainter as though the last of her strength was slipping away. Until suddenly her eyes, which had been vibrant blue a heartbeat ago, turned ashen white. A silent murmur escaped her lips. Sigurd, please. Sigurd, no. He's only 5. Please, don't take him. Take him? Where? Having lost all her prior vitality, May had become wholly possessed by a paralyzing entrancement. Staring into her pale white eyes, I could determine her essence was very far away. At the time, a faint light in the distance, close to dying out. Please, I promise, he'll be good. Please, let him stay with me. Sigurd! Her knees buckled. Had I not been fast enough to catch her, she would have plummeted into the ground. As I stood there, trying my best to keep her upright, I felt her strength gradually returning. As suddenly as it appeared, the entrancement seemed to dissipate from her body. Either blew. She remained quiet for a very long time. I'm sorry. Her voice was calm, almost devoid of emotion. I'm sorry. I forgot Sigurd isn't here anymore. I'll apologize for causing you trouble. He was killed by the guy who killed that farmer guy. Definitely, there's something going on here. Without any further clarification, she disappeared into the night. Doesn't look good. I picked up the phone. New phone, I was about to say there. Where are you? What happened? I flinched from the outrage in her voice. Nothing happened. I'm back home from a long day's work. But these boxes, they are still free boxes here. That means we have disappointed subscribers. Another job's killing me. I'll be contacting the Civil Labour Board. You better finish this first thing in the morning. I swear, if we even have one cancelled subscription over this, I'll be docking you your pay till Christmas. Sure enough. The cataclysm of abuse had ended. She remained quiet for a while before resuming in more subdued voice. Please be here early tomorrow morning. We need to deliver the remaining papers before the fundies get up for church. Sure, Anna. Let's see. When Monday finally came, it felt like a welcome relief. I sat in class, dozing a little, plagued at times by flashbacks of rabid dogs. A girl approached me after classes ended. I understand how summer's drawing late and that we're all young in our best spirits. I stared at her uncomprehendingly. I'd just like you to know that May is strictly off limits. Alarm bells went off in my head. May, you saw us on... Please tell me what's going on. May, you saw us on Saturday, but I can assure you I had the purest of intentions. I have no idea what you're talking about. May, you saw us on Saturday, but I can assure you I only had the I have no idea what you're talking about. You think you can lie yourself out of this one? Just realize this is a small community. Rumors travel fast in a place like this. If only she realized that romance was the furthest thing from my mind right now. She had explained to me that May had a learning disability, that the school board was having trouble placing her in suitable education. For the time being, May was being taught by a small group of church volunteers. Once she realized that I was a sympathetic to the situation, her overall stance softened. It's good to see a new face in school. So, how are you enjoying the Isle of Abbott? My name is Rika. By the way, Rika Kurupier. I apologize for not introducing myself sooner. Pleased to meet you. I am Abe. Like Abe Lincoln. Abe Janison. Oh, I heard your father would be coming. It's good to know he's finally arrived. He should know my dad, the pastor in town. I'm afraid we're not a very religious family. Oh, he know my dad. I'm sure of it. As she stood there staring at me, with a beaming smile, it was as all her prior hostility had completely evaporated. Wouldn't mind visiting your church someday. And dealing with pastor's daughter, I should probably be on my best behaviour. Wouldn't mind visiting your church someday. You'd be very welcome. Religion is a lot less heavy when you grow up around it, you know. Due to my father's status, people have always treated me like a sacrosanct being, but to me the Bible is like a wondrous storybook. As a faraway glance appeared in her eyes, I've always loved to read about the fantastic creatures like the behemoth and the Leviathan. Wait, wasn't the Leviathan Jewish history? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's part of Judaism. Leviathan. Don't know about the behemoth. Can't remember that one. Did you ever hear about the Leviathan? She began to recite. I have seen a great light in the sea. You may have seen the eyes of Leviathan, for his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. When Leviathan is hungry, he emits a fiery breath from his mouth and causes the water of the deep to boil. She lets out a dignified squeal of delight. That would give me nightmares. Isn't it exciting? Oh, I wonder what the Leviathan felt like submerged all alone in pitch black darkness. She ran her fingers tenderly through her hair, flaxen hair, and just then the quiet corridor erupted in vitriolic clamour. No loitering during club time. I need you in my office right now. You know, oh, I'm so glad to hear you found someone for school paper. I'm not on school paper. It's not a school paper. It's an independent periodical with 2,000 paying subscribers. Come, Abe, not Abed. Abe, follow me. Let's see. Book. Afraid she might ignite in irate fury over my performance during the weekend, I timidly waited for her to begin speaking. Her initial outburst, however, appeared to have been transient in nature. She was just sitting there, paging through a heavy book. After what felt like an entire eternity, she began to speak. Did you notice the crickets yesterday? I remained silent, assuming no answer was expected. The crickets sing during July and August. It's a sound that they make to attract potential mates. I think I heard them chirping last night. Something this year isn't right. Their song tapered off a bit in September, but now they are out of in full force again. I'm doing research on this for a article. It's a choir, so I'm going to ask you to take over some of my other duties. Yeah? I will need you to cover the weekly progress section this week. The what now? The weekly progress. It's a recurrent editorial in which we write something about a local event, inhabitant of the town. Sadly, I inherited it from the previous editor-in-chief of the community favorite, so I haven't been able to cut it yet. Let's see. But never mind, it's only 300 words. You can write about anything or anyone you see around town. Seems perfectly suited for you. I haven't agreed to any of this. If you want to keep your job, you'll have to be a team player. Does that mean I'll be paid? Don't get any ideas. She returned to her book. Assuming I was no longer needed, I excused myself. But on my way to the door, she called after me. Say, that girl you were talking to. Rika, what about her? What did she say to you? I was silent for a second. Nothing much. She approached me in the hallway. Apparently, her family are involved with religion. Her father is one of the most powerful figures in the town, the leader of the Church of Abbotsford. Whatever that means. Ina stared at me with intent gaze. I want you to befriend Rika. If you get close to her, we'll be privy to a trove of information on sordid power structures within the community. We'll have so many exclusives. Wouldn't that be a pretty underhanded reason to befriend someone? You're a journalist now. You'll have to play the game in order to get to the bottom of stuff. Befriend Rika, I'd be glad too. Thought I was just a paper boy. Befriend Rika, I'll be glad too. Well, well, look at how eager you've become now. A pretty girl. Mate, this person has no friends. All their friends are in a city. This person's gonna need friends and allies. Who knows, I might be the next target for a murder. Who knows? Let's see. Well, well, look at how eager you are that a pretty girl is now involved. There was something strange, Rika said. I believe she called this place the Isle of Abbot. Does that make sense to you? The Isle of Abbot. That's just a phrase the old people use. Did you know this town was once surrounded by miles and miles of water? This place, you can't be serious? We couldn't be farther from the sea down here. She sighed. You may have noticed how the village of Abbotsford lies slightly elevated above the surrounding fields. Not really. Well, let me show you on the map. She browsed around on her phone for a while before handing it to me. Look, this is the situation as it is today. You can see the town Abbotsford down there, surrounded by sprawling farmlands of marsh polder. Hopetown, Ryebury, Lake Eel, mainland, Abbotsford. This is like a big, ginormous operation to do, eh? I don't think land would be that smooth. There would be like ridges because, you know, land is different everywhere. So where's all the ridges? Why is it not like this? Let's see. However, it didn't always look like this. The marsh polder is a artificial island constructed during the first half of the 20th century. It was initially conceptualized as a way to meet the rising demand for housing and farmland. The lake used to be an inland sea, but they built a great dam in the north, severing its connection to the ocean. These were times of unfettered progress. The nation's government didn't shy away from major development projects. They steamed off a large area of water before proceeding to pump it dry. That's how the stretch of land was formed. That would become the marsh polder. She took back her phone and called up a different map. You called up a different map? Yeah, that seems pretty reasonable there. This is what it looked like before 1942. As you can see, there's no sign of marsh polder yet. The Lake of Eel was still an inland sea, and Abbotsford was an island. Indeed, it was. A few greybeards around here might still recall the day when the last of the water was pumped out of and their homestead was an island no more. Imagine that project. That must cost like billions or millions. Probably billions. Let's see. But who knows, it might be, you know, a little less expensive. Anna put away her phone and returned to her book, softly muttering to herself. That insistent chirping, I can hear it even here. I wonder if they're entered a second mating season. Maybe Spengler was right. I left her office quietly. As I walked back home that afternoon, my mind was preoccupied exploring all the different strategies I could employ to restore my lavish city life. I figured I'd stay at my aunt's house until I'd be able to finance a place of my own, that or I could find a comfortable bridge to sleep under. I was so preoccupied with my thoughts that I didn't notice a familiar figure approaching. Hi there, come to the stones with me? Come to the stones with me. I leapt back when I realized who it was. Sorry, I'm not allowed to talk to you. What? Are you joking? Who said that? That Cure girl cornered me after class. She let out a childish giggle there. Rika, oh, she just teasing you. No way. I'll definitely end up with my head on a pike. If you're sure no one will catch us. Fine. We'll be fine. There's no one around at this time of the day. Oh, this seems like a murder scene over here. I followed her along a short country trail which led us to a opening in the trees. In the centre stood two massive megaliths, partly buried in the ground, seemed well maintained. Do you see these giant stones? There are many of these scattered across the island. I like to come here whenever I'm sad. They warm me up inside. She was right. When I placed my hand on one of the rocks, I could feel emanate a mysterious, radiant heat. Though I figured this was likely due to midday sun, that could be. Or there's probably like some tectonic plate activity down below or radiation. This was buried under the water, so you don't know how much radiation is under the water. Let's see. Could have been an old volcano nearby that caused a bit of radiation. So are you feeling sad right now? She blushed. No. To be honest, I come here every night. It's not far from the farm, you know. She gave me a tour of the archaeological site, leading me around the megaliths at least 3 times. When she asserted that we had observed the stones from every possible angle, she drew my attention to a small plaque. She appeared to be having difficulty deciphering the writing. She looked up at me. Hey, what does that say? I bent over to look at the text, which appeared perfectly legible to me, and I began to read. Swifter band culture. I decided to read on, not questioning her curious display of literalists. I can't speak now. Sometimes I can say words pretty nicely, but some of these words I'm not very good at speaking. Don't speak them that often. It says here that these stones were erected by an ancient civilization. They used as grave mounds. and as a place to venerate their Celtic deities. She was staring at me with a captivated expression in her eyes. Please read more. Read more. I think she can't read. She's illiterate. I think that's what that thing said before. The Swifterbank people lived here between 7,500 and 15,500, 5,500 years ago, during the early Neolithic. They were a early agrarian society that held livestock but also resorted to hunting at times. The stones these megaliths were made from aren't native to the region, but were brought here from Scandinavia during the Ice Age. That means they weren't carried here by large sheets of glacial. That means they were carried by large sheets of glacial ice. When the Cell Ice Age ended about 130,000 years ago, the rocks and debris that were caught in the ice stayed behind. She stared off into the distance, making me fear for a second that she would revert into a mysterious episode again, like on the night after I first met her. But she remained fully aware. She began to speak. Isn't that a beautiful thought? When the Swifter Band people found these stones, they had been lying here for more than 100,000 years. The centuries since then have passed in no more than a heartbeat. Then she erupted into a smile as bright as the setting sun. It makes me so happy to think that these stones will be standing here for another 100,000 years. Peoples will move and kingdoms will fall, but these stones will remain. It will be nothing has really changed. I couldn't say it was a reassuring thought, though I welcomed it at the time, as it was my own growing issues somewhat into a perspective. Wait, let's stop it here because I think this video is getting a bit too long. So I'm going to stop it here by saving. Save. Automatic saves. Should I make random saves somewhere around here? Save. Can I not save? Don't know if I saved or not. Might have saved. Who knows? I don't think I can save yet. Well, I think I might end it here, as it's getting a bit too long. Have a nice day, stay up to the apple, maybe even some oranges. Need to keep up the vitamins. Very, very important. And bye bye. See you next time. Have a nice day. See you. Bye bye.